Man of the year, man of the year, man of the year. Welcome to the number one friendship podcast in the country. I'm Aaron Karo.
I'm Matt Ritter.
And make sure to go to manoftheyearpodcast.com to check out our merch and our press and watch our episodes for free on YouTube. Matt, today we're going to talk about your friendship style. There was an incredible quiz, almost like BuzzFeed type quiz in the New York Times from our friend Catherine Pearson, who actually profiled us 2 years ago. And there's basically 4 friendship styles, which I will define right now. Then let's chat about what we are and what you are. So first, there's a Firefly, and a Firefly kind of limits how many social interactions and engagements they have, but they light up when they do have a social interaction. We have Evergreens, who are all about being around friends all the time, get super deep, love to hang out and chat. Butterflies, who are a little bit more casual, they kind of flit about. So those are like good, like party hosts, have a little small talk with 100 different people. And then there's Wallflowers, people who are a little bit more selective, a little bit more introverted, but they take in a lot of information. So Wallflower, Butterfly, Evergreen, Firefly.
By the way, RIP BuzzFeed. I mean, I don't know if they're actually dead, but those quizzes used to be really fun. That was really the only good thing about BuzzFeed.
I clicked on a BuzzFeed article. I use the Apple News app, and they send me, they recommend BuzzFeed articles for me all the time, and they're just compilations of other people's tweets.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
You think anybody is there a site BuzzFeed anymore?
Yeah, they're still around.
Isn't it amazing that that wasn't like the beginning of the internet, but that was the first, all these I don't even know what you call them, websites like BuzzFeed, and remember when each city had what was that website?
Gothamist.
Yeah, like Gothamist. What was that other one that gave you tips when you go to a different city? One of your buddies from Penn, I think, founded it or something.
Tips when you go to a different city? Thrillist?
Yeah, Thrillist.
Yeah.
And then there was a female-oriented one that was huge that I'm blanking on. You know what I'm
those
talking
are
about?
all still around.
Are they all? But they were all valued at $10 billion.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they've all been stripped for parts.
Stripped down, just complete. But also they had all these fun, offices filled with 20-somethings hanging out and playing foosball. I wonder where they all are now.
Every movie in the aughts was working at one of those places.
Right. You'd always almost get hit by some sort of Nerf ball in the lobby while the lead was walking through the lobby. It was like a rom-com.
We never really worked in offices, but having a ping pong table or foosball table, I don't know. Does that seems cooler than it actually is?
I agree with you on the foosball. I feel like foosball is almost the equivalent of a punching bag at a gym. And by that, I mean, you walk over to it, you give one little twist to it, and then you never use it again. Right? It's almost there to just go like this, too. Right? You just flick your wrist at it the way a punching bag in a gym. You just go over and you just give it one good punch, and then your wrist hurts, and you're I'm never doing that again.
Has anyone ever had fun playing foosball?
I mean, I think you have to be the rare foosball person who spent the time to get good at foosball, which is such a select few people. There was one guy in my fraternity that really, really was good at
it. To me, that's a good filter. If you're really good at foosball, you're probably a tool. Here's the other thing about
foosball. Exclude people if they happen to be good at foosball. You're he's out.
I mean, it's not usually hidden skill, whatever. But here's the thing. Foosball, you can't drink because you have to use both hands all the time.
Yeah. I never really understood the foosball and drinking. It's too intense. The focus required for foosball.
Yeah. Anyway, so
where were we? What were we talking about?
We're talking about the friendship styles: Evergreen, Firefly, Butterfly, and Wallflower. Mm-hmm. And you took the test. What did you come up with?
Maybe this is surprising to some people, or maybe it isn't, was an Evergreen.
I mean, least surprising thing ever. It's exactly you.
Right. But I agree with that. But I think if you don't know me that well, you might think I'm a Butterfly.
Oh, interesting. I mean, you do like to host.
because I do host. And well, it's funny because you paid me a nice compliment at a party recently that I
I
hosted,
was
and you
just
said
gonna
that like you said somebody felt like they hung out with me for like an hour, and you were like, but you only talked to them for like 4 minutes.
You're an evergreen butterfly rising, which is like somehow you're able to like, on our holiday party, it was a really big compliment. I feel like I didn't have one conversation where like 7 people are like, oh, I talked to Matt for like 45 minutes. I'm like, it's impossible.
Right. The math doesn't add up. Right. I
Math-
defy the laws of space time with my ability to connect with people. I know it was a very nice compliment, but yes, I mean, I am an evergreen. So just to reiterate, the evergreen is uh, you feel like you're alive when you're being nourished by frequent interactions with close friends, and you tend to prefer it when those interactions feel deep and meaningful. You easily give love to others. Makes you easy to love in return. That was very nice. Yeah. All right. I guess I'm happy to be that.
yeah.
I'm
And I'm,
reliable. I'm reliable year round, reliable. I like that. Healthy and thriving as long as I get my sunlight and water, which is friendship. And I do think like when I talk about how I feel lonely sometimes, because I need that. So I
yeah,
probably get, when you're like you get lonely, like I don't get that. It's like because you're not an evergreen, you don't have the same level of need for that.
right. I'm a firefly, which is
Talk
that
about what a firefly is again.
yeah. So firefly is you don't have as many social engagements in any given week or month, but when you do light up, when you feel deeply connected to others. So when you're in a social situation, you're like super present in life of the party, but you choose not to be in social situations all the time.
Let me ask you about that.
Yeah.
Do you think that makes you more invested in every social outing that you do have?
Ooh, that's pretty interesting. I never really thought about it that
Because
way.
I do feel like, when you go out, I always feel like you're one of the most engaged people in that outing. And I wonder if that's because of your nature as a firefly.
That's interesting. I mean, it may be because sometimes I haven't seen these people in a while, so I'm more invested. I never really thought about it that way. It's possible. I save it up.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like maybe, you know, that's part of why you're very present in every social outing, which is great.
It's funny for like it gives me a recommendation and says that I should try to like chat. I should try to like connect a little bit more frequently, and then it
Mm,
says chit chat can be fulfilling. I'm like, that's Matt loves a little chit chat.
right, right. But you don't buy that. So it's,
No, no.
what is day 3? They told me to go to day 3 of the challenge. I didn't actually click on it. Do you know?
Day 3. Oh yeah, there's a bit of a challenge. Day 3 was putting a friendship on autopilot, which is essentially creating a recurring event, which is the number one of our big things.
Right. But we had to teach ourselves that too. I mean, I think you taught me that.
Yeah, and just for our listeners, so that's basically a ritual, which is that okay, you're instead of just reaching out to your buddy, hey, want to grab a drink? I can't, my wife and this and that work. Third Thursday of the month, we're gonna watch the Orioles game. Put it on the calendar. Done.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
really
I think,
love. I don't
yeah.
really love how they phrase it as putting a friendship on autopilot. I know what they mean.
I know because it has a negative connotation
Yeah,
too. I
yeah,
think well, because what we say is like cementing it or like taking the guesswork out of it.
exactly. That's exactly right.
Autopilot sounds like there's a lack of care to it.
Yeah, it was a little strange. I think let's talk for a moment about the other two.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
I was gonna be like, who gives a shit?
well, I feel like we're also very like we really like archetypes.
Yeah.
Some people may come in between.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you've got the butterfly. Butterfly one was, I think, a little bit of the least clear to me, which was someone who kind of flitters about, but a little bit more casually. Like, do we really even know anybody?
No, well, here's the thing. I think that when we try to help our listeners on the pod, one of the things we're trying to do is to get them to scratch below the surface, especially for men. is
Mhm.
that we struggle because we keep so much of our male relationships surface. And I think what we're saying is that's not, it's good to have surface relationships and friendships. You need those as well, but you got to get below the surface to really have good social health and social fitness.
We love to get our guys to go from butterfly to firefly,
Or butterfly to evergreen.
butterfly to evergreen as well. I mean, you know, I don't, and also, by the way, I don't mind a butterfly if that's how you know, identify because you are social and there are people around. You know, I think Matt, using our nomenclature, they probably have a lot of fringe friends, which are people that
Right.
are, they haven't, you know, leveled up yet. Let's try to make them into binge friends.
I love that because what's great about a butterfly is like what you're saying is there's so much opportunity for somebody who goes about their life with that much, interaction.
What's interesting too is maybe I do know some butterflies. Butterflies often, they kind of leave me, like a little bit. You kind of leave them feeling a little hollow.
Mm.
Hey, well, what's going on? Blah blah blah. You know, good to see. And I'm just like, well, are we friends? You know, like it's a bit of
Right.
a
Butterflies have to be a little careful because it can feel dismissive when somebody flits to you
right.
and then flits off. And like,
And dude,
you
and
don't,
that's why that I'm so envious. Like honestly, at our holiday party, you know, 100 people there or whatever, I felt like I was trying to get out of every conversation, not
mm,
because I didn't want to
yeah.
talk to them, because there's so many other people. And we were the hosts, and your blood pressure was at zero,
Yeah.
chatting.
My blood pressure is generally at zero.
Yeah.
Stays pretty flat.
And I don't know. Somehow you talk to everybody. I
But,
don't know
but
how
I
you do
also
it.
think, maybe partially because we're getting older. And I will say, like, these awesome, like, our holiday party was awesome. And I genuinely just don't feel that I get to have that many truly great times where so many people that I, enjoy are together. There's just fewer and further between. So I think I'm just more appreciative when I see these people. And so I don't know, I just express it. I'm not like afraid to express it.
Yeah, but I'm not saying I'm not appreciative. I'm just saying, how
Yeah.
do you talk to 40 different people? It
No,
doesn't
I
make any.
know.
Yeah.
No, but I
Uh,
think it's partly because I'm like actually genuinely lit up. And I think that comes across like, and so even if it's a short interaction, like, that I'm genuinely excited to see you. I think that gets reciprocated and that makes you have a good feeling about whatever length of time the interaction was.
yeah, it's really something to behold, guys. And I should say, oh, Matt, I didn't tell you this. So I was at had a coffee meeting the other day, and in the coffee shop, I saw one of the Lucas brothers. For those of you guys who don't know, the Lucas brothers are identical twin comedians. They're incredible. They're actually Oscar nominated for Judah and the Messiah. I forgot what that movie was called. But there's an incredible story from like 12 years ago. We were at a house party and Matt had both Lucas brothers in the corner and wrapped in a conversation for like an hour. I mean, these are two high level comedians and they're twins. And it was like seeing Muhammad Ali in his prime. It was great.
Sticky move. By the way, you left the word black out of Judas and the Black Messiah.
Judas and the Black Messiah. Okay. I wasn't sure what the name of the movie was. Congratulations on your Oscar nominations.
Yeah.
And then let's just mention our last friendship style, which is the wallflower, which is, sort of what it sounds like. You're a little shyer. You have a little bit of a lighter social calendar. You're taking in a lot of information. The tip in this article is to try to push you out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah. And I find that we have a lot of listeners that are wallflowers. I think there's a tendency to sort of feel like, hey, I have to change my ways, like that tip says, get out of my shell. I think that's just very hard. It feels hard because it seems like, all these tips are like, don't be yourself. Right. I think
Mm,
that's what it feels like. It feels like we're saying, don't be who you are. And I don't think that's what we want. I don't think that's what we're trying to do. Like for any of our wallflower, introvert, whatever you want to call them, listeners, like we're not trying to turn you into us. I want you to be exactly who you are. But we also just want to acknowledge that everybody deserves to have a healthy friendship circle and social health. And if you're not getting that, and we're telling you, hey, we're looking holistically at what's going on in your life, certain behaviors that, introverts take or don't take are going to affect that. That's just a fact of life.
Do you think it's possible that being a wallflower is a limiting belief?
Absolutely. If you think of yourself as a wallflower, I think you're defining yourself a little bit. I don't really like the term wallflower, because it indicates that like you're not seen to, or that you have to make noise to be seen, or that like you're not dynamic. I think to me, it comes with a little bit too much of a negative connotation. I think it's okay to be aware that you're not an extrovert or not loud or not, hyper social. I think it's maybe we need to rephrase it or reframe it, but I do think like there's plenty of, first of all, I know plenty of introverts that have a lot of friends. I know plenty of wallflowers that have a lot of friends, but I do think if you're struggling with friendship and you're saying, hey, I am a wallflower, we're just saying, hey, that's all well and good, but try some of these behaviors that are not going to make you change who you are. And like this whole get out of your comfort zone thing, I hate that that's directed at wallflowers, because nobody's comfortable talking to strangers, honestly. Like, I just think all of us, that's a challenge. So I think by crafting these like boxes and saying, oh, well, you're going to have an exceptionally hard time with this thing. I'm like, no, we're all like that. That's something we all have to get over.
What do you think about I've always wanted to ask you about this, the archetype of the comedian who they're like, oh, I'm actually really shy. And like, I don't really I'm super awkward and weird, but on stage,
I know a lot of those.
Like, it always seems like made up to me.
No.
Because how can you be a wallflower in your real life, but then get on stage in front of 500 people?
Because there's something inside of you that's, when you get on stage. I mean, I think that's a lot of performers have that. I think it's absolutely genuine. You're like, yeah. I call BS.
No, I just think it's an interesting, like, if you're so shy, but who would ever think, well, you know what I want to do? Talk to hundreds of people on a microphone.
No, I know. I mean, that's what makes it counterintuitive. But I know a lot of those comedian types, and they're definitely not faking it, because I've been with them privately. I'm like, oh, what a weirdo.
I also think, quote, wallflowers, just use this term of art, like, they're actually pretty incredible when it's one-on-one or a small group.
Yeah.
People there know. Sometimes I go the opposite. I'm like, wait, you're hilarious.
Right. I would say to wallflowers, like, don't give yourself the limiting belief that you're a wallflower. I would say instead flip it as, you know what really works for me? Small dinner parties.
Right.
Because like there is no wallflower at a small dinner party. There's no such thing, right? Like that doesn't exist at a 4 to 6 person dinner party.
It would be great to get a wallflower, an evergreen, a butterfly, and a firefly in a.
Should we do that? Should we do a little social experiment? Me, you, we'll get a firefly and we'll get a butterfly and a wallflower. Go out to dinner and see what happens.
Should we write a children's book about this? Making a note. Should we take a listener question?
Let's do it.
All right, we'll be right back. Guys, this is Asking for a Friend. If you have a friendship question or ethical dilemma, send it to us on Instagram. We will answer on the show. It's Man of the Year Podcast. Okay, we got a good one, Matt. Hi, Karo and Matt. Love the pod, but I need your help. I changed some names to protect their anonymity. Great. My friend, quote, Sarah, is throwing a birthday bash next month. However, I recently found out that, quote, Jessica, a former coworker with whom I had a massive falling out with over a work project and haven't spoken to since, will be there. I don't want to cause any drama. I really don't want to see Jessica, but I also don't want to miss Sarah's special day. Should I go and try to avoid Jessica? Should I skip the party? What should I do?
This happens all the time.
Yep.
It's just like, it's happened to Me at a party recently. This happened to a friend at my party a year ago. So I feel like this is something we haven't covered, oddly enough, but it's like, man, there's always in any given year, you're going to go to a party and there's somebody you don't want to see there.
Well, I don't know about that.
I don't know. I'm just saying this happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do I handle it? Here's how I handle it. This is just me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to not go to a party because there's somebody that I had some sort of thing with, unless it's like this is a 6-person dinner and that's the other couple.
Right.
Right. If
Yeah.
it's a sizable enough, if there's 12 people and I don't have to be in that person's face and they don't have to be in my face.
Yep.
I try not to make it awkward. I say hi to them right away and then move on. That's my move.
Oh. So, dude, that is the friendship beef equivalent of going to prison and punching the biggest guy in the face the first day.
By going up to them and going, hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
So you're kind of diffusing it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I just show, hey, I want to be the bigger person in this. I want us both to be the bigger person. Let's not bring that here because it doesn't belong here.
I mean, it's a very mature way of thinking about it. I'll take the other side of it. I mean, first of all, like, we don't know how close is Sarah your best friend? Is it her 30th birthday? You have some allegiance to the friend. Do you think it's worth it to have a conversation with the birthday girl? Why is Jessica coming to this party?
No, because you don't have a right to do that. That's my personal take. You don't really have a right unless you're much closer and this is like a fringe person.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading between the lines because, like, I don't know why Sarah would have this woman's enemy at the party. Maybe she doesn't know, or
right. She may not know. know.
Yeah.
And you could you could definitely have lunch with your friend and go, look, I don't know if you know this, but we've had some issues, just so they're aware. I don't think you can tell somebody what to do. I mean, you can make them aware of it. Right.
I mean, like, let's just say it's like Sarah's friend is now dating this girl. Like, maybe it's like I can't uninvite them. It's
right.
It's one of those things.
Tricky. It's tricky.
I also want to I just want to give a little props to Jessica here. If this was a traumatic or dramatic situation and she feels like, I don't really want to be in the same room as this person, like, we have to have some respect for that. Maybe.
I agree. Look, there's so many things we don't know, but yes,
Right.
if it's going to, I hate this word. If it's going to trigger you.
Trigger, right. Okay. Yeah.
If it's going to trigger you, then maybe you should stay home.
Wow. I thought you were going to push back a lot harder.
No, just stay home. If it's going to trigger you, look, that's why I said just diffuse it and move on. Because I find if you don't do it right away, then just the physical sight line of this person ruins my entire experience.
Oh, 100%. Another thing, I love building consensus. Like, do you talk to the other people, not Sarah? Like, can you believe this chick's here? Or
like, so bad mouthing. You're calling bad. You're saying bad mouthing. I love that consensus building. Good euphemism.
Well, building consensus around this chick's a bitch. I mean, what do you want to say? Like,
great.
Just so maybe other people could. Like, let me rephrase the question, Matt, or the statement. Let's say you're a third party there. You're Barbara, and that Jessica has beef with. Like,
right.
do you have an obligation to ice her out a little bit?
If it's your BFF, if it's your BFF, yeah, you're an obligation for your loyalty. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're both.
You can't be glad handing your best friend's mortal enemy.
Right, unless you're playing a little defense and keeping her away.
Right. By the way, I will say we have a friend. I'm not going to say who it is. They did ask me. I was having a party. They did ask me. I actually asked them. here's the scenario. This friend had a coworker that treated them very badly. And I was having a party. That person who treated them badly was not invited. But then somebody else asked me if they could bring a friend. So I checked with our friend and they said absolutely not. So I told this person, nah, I don't want that person here. It's sorry, no offense, but they treated my friend badly and I don't know them. They weren't a friend of mine. So I just put the kibosh on it.
It was interesting. So you actually disclosed the reason.
They knew. This person knew.
Okay.
Yeah. He knew. I didn't have to disclose. I didn't disclose. He knew.
Yeah, it's funny. Again, to your point, like we don't know so much information. As we're talking, I'm like, God, do we sound so petty? But like,
no, if you treated my friend badly and you're not somebody that I know, I'm not going to like have you in my house. Like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Like the only reason I would have somebody who has a beef is if I have an independent friendship and I'm not, that's not like my beef and I'm actually like this person and I don't feel what they did to them is like has like some crazy effect on, how it is, especially like when you have totally different worlds. Like if I just met, we talked about this once, like if I just met some new dad and it turned out he had betrayed you, like I'm obviously not going to, be close to that person. But at the same time, if his wife and Jesse's wife are having play dates with the kids, like, am I not going to have them over? Like, what am I supposed to do?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough one. Cause as you know, I will excise someone who doesn't.
It's not that simple all the time to excise.
Right.
Like I did it at a party where it was like, oh, no brainer. This person can't come into my house. You're my friend. They're not coming to my house.
Now there's one thing we didn't mention, which is what about trying to reconcile with the person?
Not at the party.
No, beforehand.
Yeah.
Which I guess they would have done that anyway if they could, but
yeah, I mean, I'm always a fan of reconciliation and that we're all fallible and that we're all telling one side of a story when people get in fights.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a tough one. I think ultimately you probably need to go.
Yeah.
Because if you don't go, you're letting the bad person win.
Yeah, why would totally.
B, you're hurting Sarah on her birthday. But I get it.
Yeah, but why do you have to tiptoe your life around this person?
Yeah. Yeah. But that's one of those things you say, but it's just harder in practice because it bothers
Unless it triggered you. You just got to suck it up.
You really hate that word.
Oh, it's the worst.
So I feel like we answered that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let us know how, quote, Sarah's birthday party comes out. Guys, that was asking for a friend. If you have a question, send it to us and we will answer it on the show. All right, Matt, let's wrap up our friendship styles with a little bit of like how best to interact with someone from another, like do we think that it's like romantic relationships where it's like you want two of the same together, like wallflowers and evergreens, can they be friends?
I think people of different styles can and are friends. I think most friend groups are not filled with just people of the same style. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I mean, unless they're like a Dungeons and Dragons group and they're all wallflowers, but right. or what do we say, Magic the Gathering?
Right, but our buddy Evan is not a wallflower at all. He's a Magic the Gatherer. By the way, do you like that? Did I just coin that?
He's a Magic the Gatherer. He's a hunter and Magic the Gatherer.
He's a Magic and Gatherer.
So I follow him on Twitter, and he's always like tweeting about magic, like tweeting cards. Yeah. I don't know.
He's not introverted. Oh, by the way, he told me that there's a guy who's got like a black market. He saw him on the street. He's like, that guy got $1 million collection in his house.
Really? Yeah, of what?
Dragons, dungeons. Coins.
Anyway, Evan's always tweeting with other dorks on Twitter, and I was just responding.
Hey, that's not nice.
What? Oh, okay. Cool Magic the Gathering players. And I always just tweet back to him like, stop.
I won't stand for that smearing of their subculture.
All right, fair enough. No, and of course it's all relative, right? Like as we've said in every other group, I'm probably the evergreen, but But in our with you and me, I'm just a lowly Firefly.
But I do think knowing your style is important because it helps you to figure out how to interact with the other styles. Because you may need to tweak a little bit if you're trying to be aware of other people and trying to be generous with your friendship or trying to build and grow a relationship. You need to know other people's styles too. Once you've sort of discovered and acknowledged your own style and their style, it's like, oh, maybe I need to be a little more of social in this situation with the quote unquote wallflower, or maybe I need to be take more time with it, like not try to get too deep too quickly or whatever.
It's funny. I was just thinking about knowing your own style because, tonight, actually, you and Fireball Adam, Jeff, like the crew, like you're going out, you're going to have fun. And I've kind of just been like, I'm out. I'm not, my battery needs charging. And I have a little FOMO, but I also know it's the right choice for me because I'm a Firefly.
Yeah. You're not going to miss anything. Just the greatest night. Just the greatest night of our lives.
So what did we learn today?
Well, I was going to say, I think it's good for people to know their friendship styles. So first and foremost, take the quiz. I don't know. Do we want to put a link in the show notes or something?
Yeah, we'll put a link or just Google what's your friendship style, New York Times.
And embrace it. Embrace your style. Be who you are.
Yeah. And I think that, for the wallflowers out there, as Matt said earlier, it's not negative. In fact, the description says there's plenty of perks to being a wallflower. The world needs wallflowers. Yeah. We love our wallflowers.
We love our wallflowers. Remember the group, the Wallflowers? Wasn't that like Jacob Dylan or something?
Yeah, they had that one song. Isn't it?
We both told the same joke at the same time. Yeah, that one song.
One headlight, right?
It was called Headlight?
One headlight. No?
No. I think it was wait, oh no, am I thinking of, isn't there a song called Wallflowers? You belong.
One headlight. I was correct. It's one headlight.
What am I thinking of? Wildflowers? You belong among the wildflowers? Who's saying that?
No, I have no idea. As usual, I have no idea what we're talking about. Now we gotta wait.
I'm thinking of a Tom Petty song called Wildflowers. The Wallflowers song was called One Headlight. That was their biggest hit.
Yeah, huge hit. You recognize it, right? Yeah.
Wallflowers top songs. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, it's gonna say One Headlight. I mean, I literally just Googled the same
thing.
thing.
No, it definitely does. Okay, yeah.
No reason for that. No reason. Guys, when you take the test, please send us your results. What kind of friend are you? And let us know. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Always remember, be good to yourself. Be good to your friends. Love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy.